launched, and at the same time Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation for Urban Renewable Initiative, that has also been launched by the Prime Minister today. Now there is a criteria which has to be followed, so there's going to be competition among states when it comes to developing smart cities. That has to be followed. IT of course is going to play a large role in this entire sector because it's all going to be technology driven, and of course the investment that has been promised is about 100 crore rupees per year for every city for the next 5 years. And of course it's going to be the civic authorities which will be driving this entire program. Now to discuss it further, what's going to be the implication like and how the implementation actually is going to happen, we have with us right now Mr. Prakash Chandraker, VP and MD at Schneider Electric Infrastructure. He's joining us on the phone line. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here on NDTV Profit. What do you have to say about the guidelines that have come out as far as creating a smart city is concerned? Now it's going to be the civic bodies which will be really working towards it. So how challenging do you think is that going to be now?
Because, cities are, as you know, engines of economic growth, and the Prime Minister covered that. And a smart city is going to be a really paradigm shift in terms of really helping to build infrastructure, which I suppose would be a game-changing, provided it is effectively implemented. And this will help in inclusive growth as well as GDP growth. Now, a smart city is comprising of many subsystems in a city, which can be electricity, water, gas distribution, and so on, which I will call as an economic infrastructure. And then there are social infrastructure, which can be water distribution system, cleanliness system, street lighting, and so on, health management system. So government is trying to give a fund, let's say 100 crore per year per city. Now the city administration along with other stakeholders has to design their objectives, how much they want to invest in infrastructure which is for economy, and how much they want to invest for the infrastructure which is for the social. So it will be very, very important that there is a collaborative effort happens among all stakeholders, because PM made very clear that the vision for the city has to be defined by the people who live in those cities and not by the government.
Right, but the kind of PPP model that has been is being followed right now, or has been followed so far, it hasn't been quite successful. So in this case, how do you think that's going to really change things around? And when it comes to Schneider, how is that preparing itself, or how are you working to be a part of this entire mission?
This infrastructure space, the scope for efficiency improvement is huge. If we really do a technological intervention in this today's infrastructure, we can save up to 30% in electricity, 20% in transportation time, 20% in water leakage. So if you see the opportunity, what is available is huge. When we go for PPP model, and it was covered by Mr. Venkaiah Naidu also, when you supply electricity 24/7, possibly the infrastructure facility what you are providing will make the commercial organization much more efficient and productive to do more output with the same level of infrastructure by creating this technological intervention. So I'm sure those companies who are going to avail these facilities, or the public, will not mind paying little bit of delta, and that can make the PPP model very successful, provided we really create our performance criteria very clear. What do we expect from those infrastructure? From economic, similarly from the social infrastructure.
Right. So there is scope of great efficiencies, but how much of the human element is an impediment for the PPP model success? We spoke with you earlier, and you said that man management and man training is also very important, not just for the private side of the business, but also the public side of the business. How critical will that be?
See, if you see PPP model, Hyderabad Metro is, let's say, one of the example getting implemented. Similarly, in electrical infrastructure is possible where there can be investor provided we have enabling policy in place which return is guaranteed. I'm sure there will be many more investment can come provided we make the policy clear, because the framework has been made today announced in terms of what is the government expects from these cities, but what is required is to create enabling regulations so that there can be more investment from the private as well as there can be the bonds, there can be SPVs. So I will say there cannot be just one model. Depending upon the city and depending upon the objective in that city, there can be multiples of a funding model which can be deployed.
So what will be these enabling policies that you want? The Prime Minister has kicked off 3 schemes today. What more needs to be done?
So let's take example of electricity. So enabling policy can be when we have a normal electricity, there is no service level guaranteed. If we say for service level which is guaranteed, maybe 99.9% availability, there is a delta which is 5% or 7%, can be enabling policy where PPP can really can attract investment, because if somebody can own a distribution line with some kind of guaranteed performance. Today, we don't have that kind of guaranteed performance criteria for any of the assets. So that is what I'm saying, the enabling policy beyond the funding will be very important to really attract the PPP investments.
All right, so we'll keep a wait for that, Mr. Chandraker. Thank you so much for speaking with us. So Mr. Chandraker is saying that not just funding for making these infrastructure programs work, you need to have a few enabling policies to give more incentive for investments to come in. We'll slip into a break at this point of time.